Shannon, would you like to say what today's word is?
Oh, well, first of all, everybody welcome back.
Yeah. Welcome back to Drawn Apart.
And welcome Hasani.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
We are glad to have you.
Yeah. Today's word is apple, as in the fruit.
Or anything. If there's anything called apple.
Oh, okay, sure.
It just has to be apple-inspired or apple-themed.
Just
anything
with Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Run with it.
Yeah, anything that you are inspired by that
word.
That word.
All right.
It's pretty freeform.
Awesome.
So for those of us for those of them, those of the people that don't watch your channel but watch our channel, Hasani does really cool stop motion animation as well as speed paints. I think you do speed paint every week and stop motion animation every other.
Yes, pretty much. So yeah, I have I guess the speed paints that come on Saturdays at 7, and I have a stop motion series called My Bedroom Door that shows on every other Friday at 7.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, stop motion animation, I've always been interested in it, but like it seems terrifying to me.
Huh. It takes some getting used
to,
but yeah, it's rewarding.
How long have you been doing it for?
Well, I got interested at a very young age. I've been sculpting for a long time, and I'd say that around the age of 13 was when I wanted to make a stop motion film, but I didn't have all the resources for it, but I planned it out, so I wanted to make a stop motion film of the Raven. So I made storyboards, character designs, and pretty much the whole plan, but it wasn't until I think my sophomore year in high school that I actually found out the AV department had everything for stop motion, so that's when I actually started in stop motion.
That's pretty cool. So you've been doing it for a long, or at least had a real strong interest in it for a long time.
Yes.
That's awesome. Have you heard of, I'm sure you have, I talk about them constantly.
I knew you were going to bring it up. I just wondered how long it would take you.
Not long. Leica Studios?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've been trying to apply to them for a very long time.
Yeah, I have no stop motion skills, but I want to apply to them just because I just love what they're doing so much. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I have no skills in the stop motion, but like just what they do is so cool. And my favorite writer and author works there, actually.
Oh, who's that?
Vera Brosgol, if you know her at all. She did a couple of comic books and a couple of real short animated things.
I'm afraid I'm actually not familiar. I have to look her up.
Yeah, she's my favorite artist, and I would kill to work with her, man.
So I actually started following Leica when I followed Henry Selick a lot. I know. Are you familiar with Henry Selick?
Not really.
He directed Coraline. He was also the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas. And,
okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I know those ones.
Yeah. So everyone's familiar with his work, but not like his name. But yeah, like after
Actually,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, after seeing Nightmare Before Christmas, I just started following his work insanely, and I heard about Coraline, and I love Neil Gaiman, too, so hearing that Henry Selick was going to make a film based on a Neil Gaiman book, I kept updated with that, and that's how I kind of got introduced to Leica.
Okay, yeah. I was actually trying to remember his name earlier, because I said something about, like, stop motion like Tim Burton, and I was like, not actually Tim Burton. He just gets all the credit. I mean the one guy that did all the actual work. And, I couldn't think of his name. Well,
now we know.
Now I know. I'll probably forget it. But because I'm a forgetful person, but at least now it's on recording, so I could just listen back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Coraline was amazing. That's one of the movies that kind of really inspired me to watch more of their stuff. That, and then I found out Vera Brosgol worked there, and I was kind of excited about that.
So I know we actually have one of the directors from Box Troll is on channel Frederator Network.
Really?
Yes,
Who's that?
Graham Annabelle.
Okay.
Or I hope I'm saying his name right.
Is he active in the community?
I guess I see posts from him every now and then. I don't know, like, right on the community, but I do see posts on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, so he does like a lot of
All
kind
right.
of quick animations. There's one series of animations called Principal Skeleton, and it was actually one of the
Okay.
topics in the Sketch-A-Day forum.
Oh yeah, you also run the Sketch a Day forum.
Oh yes,
Well, like you do the suggestions for the Sketch a Day forum.
yes.
When I first noticed the Sketch a Day thing, I was like, "Oh, that's a really cool idea." Then I was like, "I thought you were part of like community management because you tell everyone what to draw every day, but you don't always participate."
Oh yeah,
Because I'm sure that you're busy as well. But I was like, that person's job is to tell everyone what to draw. That's awesome.
I've gotten that a lot. A lot of people have asked if I actually work at Frederator Studios, and I don't. It'd be great if I did, but yeah, I'm just one of the animators in the community. And
Right.
actually, the way that Sketch-A-Day started, it was pretty much like every project I've ever done, where I posted an image of Garfield and said that it was part of a Sketch Dailies thing that I found online that I did, and someone on Frederator sent a message saying that I should actually post something on the network or the community to do like a Sketch-A-Day forum. And the thing is, I have a lot going on, so pretty much since I have a fill of projects, my response should have been something like, "I'll think about it." But what I actually said was, "Yeah, I'll post something on Monday," and it was Friday. So that weekend, I made a list of topics, and in the morning before going to work, I posted like, "Hey, Sketch-A-Day, like, who wants to join? Here's a topic," and that it went off from there.
The one where you did Channel Frederator characters, I really liked.
Oh,
Because it was like, hey, do fan art for each other, and I really dig that kind of stuff.
yeah, that's something that we're gonna definitely do again in the near future.
See, but now you're in the position that if you're like, hey, why don't you guys draw my characters? It seems a little bit self-serving. So
It does. So that's something that I don't even know if that will ever happen, because every time I think of it, it just feels like a terrible thing that kind of like pits.
which sucks because your characters are interesting and they have a cool look about them, and I don't know. I think it'd be fun to get some fan art of your stuff, but now you're in a position where you can't.
Yeah.
Unless we do a collusion right now. If you're like, hey, Alex from S.HouseStudio is going to run Sketch a Day for a week because reason X, and then I do it, and I'm like, well, let's just do community guys again, and then I pick you. See, that's a way around the loophole, so it doesn't have to be self-serving.
That's true. I have been offered by different people that if I can't run Sketch-A-Day for a week, that they'll take over. So I might do it. I might ask you to take over for a week and just to get a character done.
Who would you say your biggest influences are as an artist?
Well, number one actually would have to be my animation mentor, Dave Lucero.
Okay.
So actually, I met him when I was 10 years old. He actually came in at a point in my life when I had no idea what I was going to be doing with my life. And he had a studio, and he saw that I could sculpt, and he just asked, like, do I want to come on weekends to just kind of help out at a studio? And I sort of just needed a distraction in my life at that moment, so I went ahead for it. And he actually taught me, like, he's an airbrush artist, but he taught me how to do airbrushing, how to do storytelling, how to do research for characters. So a lot of things that I use, just like building appealing characters, he taught me a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah. But along with him, a lot of my influences, I guess, like animation-wise, there's Don Bluth, because I love the style, and I love that he told stories that were actually much darker than what animation stories usually are. There's also Brad Bird, so his storytelling is also just like with the Iron Giant, just very relatable characters. But I also have a lot of live action directors as influences, like the Coen brothers are a big influence to me. There's a Paul Thomas Anderson for films like There Will Be Blood.
I think with stop motion, you have to have some live action influences as well.
Oh yeah,
because you
definitely.
like that the sense of motion can be way different. With animation, you can really like. It seems like with stop motion, you have to toe that line between like being able to do absolutely anything and then having like the restrictions of real world on your characters, if that makes sense.
Yes, and
I could be talking out of my ass because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh no, it's absolutely true. Actually, at my when I graduated, I went to the Art Institute of Phoenix, and graduating, a lot of the teachers said that I was the only student that did stop motion, so I was kind of in an interesting position where they said that I was in between the animation students and the film students because what I was doing was a combination of both.
It's an interesting, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, you are. I don't want to say restricted because that sounds like a terrible thing. But, I mean, it's interesting because you have to go by, like, actual lighting, so you are sort of held by realistic light and stop motion. Actual physics, so if you want to do something crazy like something flying, you do need to figure out a way to actually rig that. And
practically, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and even just, like, effects-wise, doing special effects in stop motion, it's pretty much the same as doing special effects in live action.
Now, would you say that stop motion is your favorite medium to work in, or do you have a favorite or a close second?
Stop motion it would have to be the favorite. Even when I went to the Art Institute, I actually went there to get more into computer animation, but I just went right back to stop motion. I mean, I did learn computer animation, but it was just when I had free time, I always went back to that. So I just love the hands-on. Just the hands-on feeling you get with stop motion.
Are you interested in stop motion animation, Shannon?
Oh, I mean, definitely. Not necessarily doing it myself. I don't know that I have the patience to. But it is one of my favorite mediums to watch.
I noticed, like, a lot of people, and actually even I thought this, that stop motion, they say it's the longest form of animation. And even at CTN, they had a Leica conference, and they went over all the things they did, and they showed Paranorman, and they showed how they built the sets, and they had like a fence, and they showed how people actually went in and actually like manually built the fence, and people that could knit the clothings, and there's just like all this extremely detailed work, and someone there asked, is it worth it to do all that time when like CG could go quicker? And the thing is, I'm glad that the person there said this, because I felt this too. Pretty much CG and stop motion, it's kind of the same amount of work, actually.
Really?
Yes. So I noticed that...
that seems really counterintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, so in the end, it's more like just an aesthetic kind of thing, like how you want it to look and feel, and just how you want to do the work yourself. But I noticed when it comes to like building and rigging a character in 3D, I'm pretty much doing the same, but I'm just sculpting and building an armature in real life.
Huh.
With stop motion and CG, the main difference I notice is the space you need for them. So, like with computer animation, you're really just all the space is on the computer, but with stop motion, you do need to like have the amount of space to actually build the sets and everything.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's where the real payoff is. Even when looking at like ILM and how they went to they stopped using miniatures and they were going to go just to CG, and they talked about how they do not need like the huge amount of storeroom they used to need for their miniature sets.
So I guess I never thought about it like that. I mean, I guess I knew that you needed the space, but I guess I never thought about like how much space it would actually all take. So do you have like a studio then, where you keep all your stuff for your stop motion dealies?
I don't actually. It's all in a house, so it's very crowded. My workspace for stop motion is actually just it's about the size of like a bedside table, so I need to be very creative with how I use the space.
Oh, especially if you're changing scene locations and then you have to go back to one.
Yes. It has been sort of a problem, or I've had to change things like on my bedroom door. There are scenes that I've wanted to be just like schoolyard sets and just places. I wanted them to go to places that were much bigger than the space I had. But because I'm limited, if you watch the show, you'll notice that the camera doesn't really move. You don't see a lot of big spaces. They're never really outside. So I'm limited on that. But hopefully in the future, I'll be able to make those episodes much bigger the way that I want them to be.